What is supposed to be the main purpose of a college degree?
As a mom, my first instinct was I want to scrub the internet of every picture I've ever posted of my child so that there's no chance that someone will do this to them.
Just when seemingly everything, even things like Pop-Tarts, were being made with protein to maximize protein intake, fiber stepped into the spotlight.
Yes.
There's a new nutrient in town. And it's fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always heard just get a lot of bright colors on your plate.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So
probably
Skittles, baby.
Gen Z heads to trade school in mass, the controversy around Grok's creation of deepfake images, and why fiber is the new protein. Welcome to the roundtable. I'm Evan Barber, and I'm here today with Irene Tucker and CJ Fant. This week's slang of the week is the word Choppelganger. CJ, care to explain this term?
Yeah. First pop quiz for you. What does chopped mean in terms of slang, Evan?
It means you're ugly.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're chopped and unk, that means you're
Ugly and old.
ugly and old, right? And so you have this term chopped, and then you have the term doppelganger, which is not spelled L-E, it's spelled E-L, as Evan and I had a funny conversation. I thought it was spelled D-O-P-P-L-E, which
No.
it's not spelled that way.
E-L.
Yeah. Anyway, we're
EL.
writers. We are. Evan is very particular
Spelling
about
matters to us.
making sure we spell this made-up slang term
Yeah.
correctly. So it's a combination of the word chopped and doppelganger.
Yeah.
And so it comes out of this kind of long history of calling people like a Temu version of someone else, or like I love to say that people are like something is the diet version of something.
The diet version? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
where it's kind of like this like I think Choppelganger has more of a mean connotation than like calling something the diet of something. But yeah, so
I thought that saying someone is the Temu version of something else was also pretty mean.
it is pretty mean.
It's quite mean.
It's definitely mean. Obviously, a lot of slang is not super productive or helpful for people. I don't know. But
we could at least say kind.
Maybe not as kind as it could be. So like Choppelganger, part of why I like my job at Axis is I think it's pretty funny. As much as people, hate on 6-7 and stuff, part of me deeply thinks it's funny at the same time, which is hopefully why I'm good at my job. But so a Choppelganger is a pretty funny thing to say. And if I had a teen say that to me about, oh, you're the Choppelganger of, I don't know, like Jim Carrey or something, I would probably laugh really hard.
So
that would be such a high compliment, though.
Yeah.
To state it, but no, because to state it explicitly, it means you are the uglier version of this person.
If I were to get compared
anyone compares
to
you,
Jim Carrey in any way, I
wouldn't.
would be like, thank you. Ugly or not, I'll be the ugly version of Jim Carrey. That sounds fine.
Okay.
I hate to tell you this, I don't think you look anything like Jim Carrey.
Well, I just want to,
Yeah.
But it's not personality at all.
know.
It's strictly
Yeah,
based
that's
off of
true.
appearance,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just
right.
you look like this person, except you are uglier.
Yeah, I mean, if you
I
think
guess
about
that would be pretty rough.
Yeah.
if you think about some of the stuff that this is born out of, like the Temu version, that could be not related to looks. That could be personality.
Yes.
Yeah. Not
but
made well.
Yeah.
Specifically, when you include the term chopped, it's gonna mean something about their physical.
Yeah.
The way they physically look. So
And you think Temu version of something was more encompassing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and personally, obviously, I understand that it's not a nice thing to say to someone. I don't know how often people are saying this like genuinely as like a bullying term or not.
Well,
I find it very funny in some ways, but I also understand if it is like meant to bully someone, that's not really great,
My understanding is that the term was first used because someone who described himself as having dyslexia misread the word doppelganger to say Choppelganger, and then lots of people liked that comment about his misread, and then it became its own thing.
Yeah.
So I think it started out as sort of an accident, sort of a joke, and now is a bit more than that.
Caught flame.
Well, anyway, there you have it. The term is Choppelganger. It's typically not a compliment.
Unless you're Irene, and you're like, wow, that's so flattering.
I would be the Temu version of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That would be fine with me, because then it would be a little all-encompassing. Like, you're a little funny, and maybe you look like Jim Carrey.
Your face is very flexible.
Yeah, okay. You look like Jim Carrey from The Mask. All right, first thing from the top 3. Gen Z is opting for trade schools and apprenticeships rather than the high school to college white-collar path that has, in some ways, felt like the normal path. Just a quick note, this story was contributed by our friends at The Pour Over, the Christ First news resource. To stay current on the news cycle, you can check out their free newsletter, which we'll link to in the show notes. According to Resume Builder, 42% of Gen Zers are enrolled in trade schools, including 37% with a college degree. So it's not necessarily only trade school instead of college. It's often both. Quoting from this article from Resume Builder, when asked why they chose blue-collar work over a career aligned with their degree, 30% said trade jobs offer better long-term prospects. 19% couldn't find a job in their field after getting the degree. 16% reported they weren't earning enough with their degree. 16% more said their degree didn't lead to the career they expected. Other reasons that the article found included 45% want more flexibility or independence, which trade schools are seen as offering. 32% prefer hands-on work to desk jobs. That's super interesting to me. Because there was a picture of the future in which everyone was always and only more and more digital. And there's a counter culture that's kind of emerging in spite of that. 29% believe trade careers are in high demand. 27% believe they can earn more in a trade. 25% say these jobs are less likely to be replaced by AI, which I was a little surprised that wasn't a bit higher. Maybe that's just kind of one of my fixations lately, but that's one of the intrigues for me around trade school is it's when AI is automating so much of what work has involved. There's still an important service and skill that can be provided in physically doing things and learning how to do that. 20% have seen others succeed in trades. 11% believe Trump's tariffs will bring more blue-collar jobs back to the U.S. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of percentages for your edification. My first question to you guys is basically, is this surprising to you guys that there would be an uptick of interest in trade school for Gen Z? Or does it kind of fit with the overall patterns that y'all have observed?
I think Gen Z likes being kind of this standout generation in a way. Like they do things differently. And I think I love that they problem solved this. I know that they were all kind of scared that AI was going to take their jobs and what's even the point of going to college. And then suddenly everybody's going to trade school. And I think that's great. I mean, I have a son who's going to go to trade school next year to be an electrician. And I think that feels really secure and steady. And I feel like I have faith in that. And then I have a kid that's also in college and I'm like, fingers crossed.
That is so interesting because, I feel like 20 years ago, for some parents, it might have been the reverse. Like the one going to college is, that's a much more secure path. Whereas the trade school is like, I hope they can make ends meet, that type of thing. I mean, you hear so many people get degrees and then they have to go to trade school or doing something entirely outside of what they went to school for. Sure. So I love that they are finding the way out of this whole AI takeover. Yeah, curious what stands out to you, CJ, off of this.
I mean, I feel like for the last 10 to 15 years, I've heard more and more people like encouraging, young people to consider trade school. Like it's just been a trend that's come up more. From my understanding and like from what I've seen, that actually like it also isn't like a guarantee you'll get a job. Like I've heard that as well, that like obviously I don't do like a physical trade like plumbing or, like being an electrician or whatever. so like my understanding is that sometimes it's actually harder to find jobs than you might expect. Like I think what I was hearing people tell young people was like, oh, you'll just like immediately be able to get a job that pays you well. And like my understanding is that a lot of Gen Z who have done that have found, well, it is pretty competitive as well. Like it's not just this like, oh, so many openings for plumbers.
Well, maybe especially now if everybody's kind of going that direction.
Right.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's still like that doesn't necessarily make it a bad choice at the same time. Like it still can be a really solid choice because at the end of the day, I think that idea of like, well, we're always going to need these roles, I think is true.
Yeah.
Right. And AI, at least for the definite foreseeable future, won't be able to repair a bursted pipe or fix the actual physical components of an electricity grid or whatever, like.
Well, and isn't it true that, I'm going to open this can real quick, excuse me. Isn't it true that the medical community is already kind of using robotic devices for surgeries and that type of thing?
Yeah, but you can't put AI in charge of the surgery. There's still someone doing the surgery through the
but
robot.
also like charting and all that stuff has become like.
Charting?
Like charting patients' vitals and like all the notes that you're taking.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to streamline that into AI somehow and nurses.
I'm confused how this relates to trade school.
What I was getting at was perhaps there will be an age in which robots, like 3D embodied mechanical beings, are doing more manual physical tasks. That's
because it's a one-time investment versus continually paying somebody.
Well, that's why I said
salary.
for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying it would never happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've been kind of trying to think through is I feel like in so many ways the cultural tilt has been away from embodiment and away from in-personness, away from like the value of space and time and more into the digital sphere. And I feel like there's almost a sort of superiority complex around some of that stuff, such that I wonder if robots will ever really even become a thing. Yeah. Like maybe AI always stays in the ChatGPT side of things because people see not having a body as superior to having one. I don't know. That's maybe going down too deep of a hole.
You've never seen iRobot?
Yes, I've seen iRobot.
It wasn't a documentary. Like it wasn't.
I feel like we'll have embodied robots. That's my prediction.
Well, we already have some, but I don't know, man. I mean, I could be wrong.
Is iRobot the Temu version of Blade Runner?
Yes, 100%.
That's good. I only say that to say there's even fear around maybe someday a robot will be able to do plumbing better than me. Maybe someday a robot will be able to do electrical wiring better than me. Maybe someday a robot will be able to be a better mechanic than I will. But maybe not. Like, we don't know. I don't think we know that AI will go that direction.
Right.
We talked about it when we talked about that weird helper robot, whose name I'm forgetting.
Neo.
Neo.
The Neo home robot.
Yes. So
did you see it? I tried to unload a dishwasher. It took 5 minutes.
So
for
part
one
of
cup.
the thing with AI is that the only way they can learn is they have to encounter something once. Like someone has to like train it, right? And I always think about that when it comes to stuff like this, where like part of what makes the human brain really, really amazing and incredible is we can approach something that we've never seen before and without even really processing it, be able to pull from all of our experiences and be able to create a solution very, very quickly. And AI it is like a facsimile of that, but at some point it really struggles if it doesn't have any data to pull from. Whereas like humans, we can make these like cross-referential comparisons and say, oh, I did something similar to this at one point in my life and I can apply some of the things I learned, even though it's completely separate or whatever it is, you know, like, oh, I fixed my kid's toy this way and this applies here. Whereas like AI isn't quite as good as that, and it might get better, but I would say that really, really matters. Like I think about, as someone who has worked at a church, especially in like on stage and playing drums and stuff, like watching production guys, like the guys who like run the slides and make sure the sound sounds good and chases cables and all those sorts of things. my friend Mitch and I talk about this a ton. Like 90 to 95% of what they do is problem solving. That's all they do. Like, because if it just runs, they can just let it run, and maybe there's some active things they need to do, like turning up a mic or turning down a mic or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But really, their primary job is when things break to know how to fix it, and that is such a skill that's like difficult to like. It's hard to do to know exactly what to do. Sometimes it's just Googling problems, right? Like. And AI can do that, but like actually being able to like
doctors.
Yeah, like be able to apply what's happening.
Are you saying doctors just Google
Tell
problems?
me you've never been to urgent care and a doctor's like, let me look that up.
No, well, I have, but I was going on faith that was an abnormal experience.
I mean, just being able to reference what you've learned in the past. I mean, that's helpful too. But my whole point is that like a lot of that, like the human brain is particularly good at problem solving. And I'm not saying that AIs aren't good at that, but they're not. They're a shadow of what humans can do with like applied effort. So
that's beautiful.
To me, like that's why I say the foreseeable future, because I can totally see a world where it's like, well, we've got all these fancy robots that do all these things, and then the first time it gets in the field, the first problem it encounters, it has no way to know how to solve it, and it can't actually like do trial and error in the way that a human can.
What if the fear it isn't that they replace us, but they enhance our performance? Like
you said, that's the fear.
No, maybe like we're so fearful of AI replacing everything that we do. But what if they were just our helpers, and it wasn't that, it was something that, like, hey, buddy Neo, I'm working on my script. Can you go grab me a cup of coffee?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it'd be nice to have an AI.
And that's how
I don't believe that robot could make me a good cup of coffee. It could make me a medium or bad cup of coffee. But.
So one of the questions this brings up for me is just around the value of the college degree as a whole. I feel like
the value is over $100,000.
Yeah.
You know what I've been thinking?
What is supposed to be the main purpose of a college degree? Because I think for a while...
That's a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
I know you're asking us that, but I think if you ask a teen that, I think that would be fascinating to hear their response.
I think that is what I was going to recommend.
Okay, sorry.
Actually.
Yeah.
But, I feel like for a while it was like, oh, well, it's a demonstration of your intelligence and your sincerity, and it's kind of how you get a job. But if that falls apart...
I think that was something that our generation was promised.
Exactly.
And was that true? I feel like a lot of millennials would say, I don't know if that's really true. And I think that's been some of the push towards trade schools is this like de-romanticization of higher education of like, oh, it didn't guarantee me six figures or whatever
6-7 figures.
I think everyone in this room is working in the field that they went to school for, right?
I actually am, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's very unusual.
Yeah.
I write for a living and I don't have an English degree, so I'm making a lot of English majors very angry.
Communications, though.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah,
but it is pretty funny to be
though.
like, there's something we've talked about as we've hired people. It's like, there's a lot of English degree majors who would love to write, but they can't, and yeah.
And our producer, you went to school for music, and you do like production. So
yeah, when Evan sings on the mic. It's like,
yeah. If that ever happens, we'll have it produced very effectively.
I'm just glad that I got my degree before ChatGPT, because I feel like even if the value of it, I think the value of it will be less for the mind in the future.
I think this isn't exactly what you're saying, but I think it's worth bringing up that I think a lot of students are a little like, school feels weird to them right now because of AI. Of like, is the teacher using AI? Can I just cheat with AI? Like, I know I've talked to some students about that, and they feel a little bit, they have like a little bit of a doomer mentality.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like all my all my peers are just, cheating with ChatGPT or, and these are like high schoolers. These aren't even college students. But at the same time, like we have someone who consults with us about culture, she's like figuring out frog fertilization. And I'm like, I don't know how you would cheat with that on ChatGPT, where they're like doing labs and like,
that's a real world skill.
Yeah.
Right there.
Like genetics of frog. Like, I'm like, that sounds crazy. I don't know how. So sometimes like it feels like a little bit like we're being pushed into hyper specific roles where it's like being an electrician is a hyper specific role. And it's hard for that to be kind of replaced by, general knowledge is maybe the way to put it. Whether that's a large language model from ChatGPT or Google or whatever it is. But then there's also like hyper-specific scientific research, like genomes of frogs. Like it feels like that's also like it would be hard to replace that without practical, like, I did this, that sort of knowledge. I don't know. There's a lot of conversations there, but ask your student about it, like we were saying.
Ask your student about frog fertilization. No,
Tadpoles.
I think, truly asking your teen, what do you think is the point of getting a college degree could be a really interesting conversation. And then, listening and maybe sharing what you have seen the point of it as being, I think that could be really worthwhile.
Hey everyone, I'm Bree here at Axis. I just wanted to jump in and let you know that this podcast episode is made possible by The Table, a community of monthly givers fueling Axis's mission to keep every resource free for families everywhere. We receive stories like this one all the time. I'm a mom of a 15-year-old and we listen to Axis's podcasts constantly on our drives. Periodically, we'll pause them to talk about what we're learning or to engage some of the conversation starters they provide. It has transformed our car rides together. We want to invite you to join The Table and to be a part of helping parents and teens just like this story build lasting faith together, one conversation at a time. Join our community today at www.axis.org/thetable.
All right, next up, a recent AI controversy exposed a problem most of us probably should have seen coming. The laws meant to protect people from sexual exploitation are also making it harder for companies to prevent it. Irene, you did a little bit of a deep dive on this topic and what's been going on, particularly around some of the stuff with Grok. Could you start first off by unpacking what's the story with Grok right now, and then we'll go into more detail about some of the ramifications.
Yeah. So when Grok rolled out, it is essentially, it had these new video and image tools. And almost instantly, when it did come out, people were using these tools to sexualize women and children. So they would take images and undress them, essentially. And it became this big scandal. And Elon Musk, I believe, said, well, that's not my fault. That's the user's issue. That's not an issue with the thing that I created it. Yes.
I saw somewhere he also said anyone who creates this material will be punished in the same way that uploading illegal material of children.
Yeah, essentially he's saying people who are doing it, they have to take ownership of making that choice. And but I think there's also, I mean, personally, I feel like if you're developing something with such a incredible capability, there should be safeguards around it.
For sure.
And so essentially there is something called red teaming, and the New York Times had this article that was all about this undressing scandal. And I thought it was really fascinating, so I'm just going to read it real quick. Essentially, red teaming is the practice of simulating an adversarial actor's behavior to test the effectiveness of an AI model's safeguards. Red teams, which may be either internal or external to a company, try to get the model to generate undesirable content. And typically this is for like malware or bomb making instructions.
Yeah.
But child sexual abuse material is meaningfully different. Production and possession of these materials are a serious crime with no exception for research or testing purposes. So essentially, they're saying even the practice of red teaming in good faith to try the actor would maliciously try everything possible to get this software to undress a child or a person. They can't go in there and see what those loopholes are because the possession of it would incriminate them and then they would go to jail or get prosecuted.
Okay, so to make sure I understand, there's a practice with technology that involves purposefully trying to shoot holes in how the software works.
Correct.
One of the desired guardrails, let's say, of something like Grok, the AI tool, is that it should not be able to be used to create sexualized material of children.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to make sure that it can't be used to do that, people would have to try to do it in order to see if there are loopholes in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But the very fact of trying to do it is prosecutable by law.
Right.
And so it would actually be, there would actually be some serious legal jeopardy, not to mention the moral weirdness of having to even try to find a loophole in that way.
Yeah.
But it's this.
Yeah, we've talked before about that, like the moderators of TikTok who like their job is to find that stuff, and just like the moral, like the wear on them of just like, yeah, my job is to see if people are uploading, child porn, like, and like how much that affects them. And this is like a step beyond that, because those people who are just moderators aren't an active participant in it. They're just reporting on it, and just the effect of seeing those things, especially like the violent stuff as well. Like, that stuff is pretty serious, and it's hard to like fully catch all of those with an automated system, right? Like bots can do a lot, but they can't catch everything that everyone is uploading, especially on a platform like TikTok. But then you get into generative AI, and to test if it creates something, you have to be an active participant in that, and that's even like a deeper.
And you'd have to put yourself in the mind of a predator. Like, what are all the ways this predator would try and get this to work? And so I think there would be some psychological demand on someone in that role that would be extremely difficult. So the fact that, but honestly, I wonder if like the training and screening and training for these specific roles could be necessary or should be necessary, because just pretending like leaving it feels crazy to me.
Yeah, right. It seems like this cannot be just allowed to continue. But what do you do practically to change? Because I mean, Grok is trying to prop itself up as just this sexually liberated AI thing in general, right? So it isn't like, oh, we're just your librarian, and then people are doing that.
I will say this, like Sora, like this hasn't been as much of a problem with Sora. So like obviously there is some way to do it. Like I know people tried to break Sora, and it was pretty difficult to do that. And so,
that's part of what I was saying is like it seems like Elon Musk wants.
And I think that's why
his technology to be used for sexy purposes.
I don't think Grok is getting undeserved attention is maybe the way to put it. I also think it's just worth saying, like, the question that I think we come back to with a lot of this generative AI is like, is the benefit of this worth the risk?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah.
Like I think that is a fair question to ask.
Right.
Because like, in like, just because I wrote it, but like in my 2025 thing, when I talked about generative video, I'm like, everything I've seen from this is so disposable. There's nothing interesting or significant being made with these platforms. Like even
the
generative
AI platforms,
even generative image creation, I feel like most of the time it's just meant to fool someone. Which is like, is that a reason that we create art?
Yeah.
Like,
to
I think
fool
that is
others.
the worst take about like acting and movies in general. It's like, oh, it's lying. I'm like, okay, that's not the point of it. Like, you're, and I'm sure that there's some generative AI art that has like been very emotionally complex or whatever you want to say. But when I look at the videos being made, even on Sora, where there is less capability to create hypersexualized stuff, it's like, cool, there's a Ring doorbell and a cat saves a child from a bear and it's fake. I'm like, what is this supposed to inspire in me? Or is it just supposed to fool a 75-year-old grandmother? Like, what is the point of this? And I keep coming back to that because we have these problems in society where it's like, I mean,
Like, what's
it's because
the
Irene's
positive
wearing
trade-off here?
Maybe it's because Irene's wearing the Jurassic Park shirt, but the question of like,
Just because we
they
can.
should have asked, should we?
Right,
you know, like
right.
What?
Yeah, exactly. No,
like
exactly.
that is the question that I'm like, Jeff Goldblum lives in my head rent free when it comes to AI about that question of like, scientists should have asked, you know, should we, instead of just, hey, we can, you know,
because where we've gotten to right now, I think there are problems that parents now have to deal with, that people who care about the next generation now have to deal with, which include how to prepare our kids for a world in which there is a non-zero chance that someone will generate sexualized content of them and without their consent.
Yeah.
And like how to convey to the next generation the moral seriousness of using technology to generate these sorts of images of others, you know? Those are things that parents now have to think through and figure out how to talk about, because people wanted to see if their technology could do something crazy, right? And I mean, I'd be curious to hear from you guys a little bit of how parents might be able to lean into those conversations, because that's where we're at, you know, and maybe Grok will get shut down or something, and this will become a little bit less common today. But right now, I don't know.
I mean, there's this, you know, as a mom, my first instinct was I want to scrub the internet of every picture I've ever posted of my child ever, so that there's no chance that someone will do this to them. It's kind of impossible, first off. And also, kids are always posting themselves. And so I think the conversation should be, you know, with your content out there, knowing that someone else could use it to manipulate what it is. You're just posting a happy photo of yourself that could turn into something that could haunt you. You know, is it worth posting photos of yourself? Like, should you still, like, what's the, do we stop?
Do you see that sort of nuclear option as a viable solution in this conversation? Like something to say to kids, like, hey, just so you know, even if what you post is completely inane, that could become fodder. Like, is that a conversation that ought to happen?
I mean, I think it's very unlikely that kids and parents will stop posting or sharing photos of themselves. I feel like that's probably a...
But, I mean...
And does that just come off as, like, extreme scaremongering?
Yeah.
Even though, for a minority of individuals, it will be the reality.
Yeah, the thing I'm wrestling with is, like, kind of the same question as the why do we create these generative platforms, is, like, why do we share images of ourselves online and our children? Like, and maybe that's a question to ask a young person of, like, I think back, like, I wonder what it would have been like if I had just printed up thousands of photos of myself and just handed them out to everyone I saw. Because, like, that's kind of what we do on the internet, right? And, like, obviously in the, you know, the 50s or whatever, there was much less ability to doctor things in the way that we can now. So I'm wondering, like, why do we do that? Like, I get that there's, like, a social clout and a social, you know, connection or whatever it is. But, like, if Irene wants a photo of me and my family, I would give that to her. I don't need to post that on the internet, you know? And
do you think that it is primarily because we want to be told or seen as attractive and or valuable?
I think that's definitely a part of it. I also think it's just kind of a decision that society made and we just kind of went along with it. And I say society as, like, this, like, weird general amorphous term for just people groups in general.
Society.
But I do wonder if, like, the rise of social media was so fast that none of us really considered what was happening.
Sure.
And so in some ways it's like, I still think it's worth asking that question of, like, I totally get, like I get the instinct to, like, I want to share my life with the people I love. Right. And that includes, like, here's a picture of, you know, my kid, or here's a picture of, you know, whatever it is, of me on vacation or whatever it is. Like, I get that instinct. And I think Facebook in the early days, like really manipulated that instinct to want to share our lives. And then suddenly it turned into, well, now you share your life publicly, not just with the people who are on your friends list or whatever it is. And so I think in some ways, I wonder if it's worth asking a young person or even ourselves, like, what does it look like for me to like maybe take a step back from those platforms and like be intentional about who I share my life with?
Yeah.
And like even content, like, yeah, if I go on a trip, I might send you a picture, Evan. I trust that you're not going to use that picture for nefarious purposes.
Thank you for trusting that.
But can I trust everyone on the
going to.
internet?
Right.
Like totally, right? And so maybe it's worth saying like maybe I should just share my life with the people who know and love me.
I think that
Obviously, it's complicated because like sometimes your life you have to be an influencer or be on social media for your job or whatever it is, you know. So
I think there wasn't a risk before.
Yeah.
And I think that's why
When?
we
What do
did
you
it.
mean?
Like, you know, I feel like I've been posting pictures of my kids since 2008. And now there feels like a risk and a reason to not. But before, the reason is it does provide a sense of connection with people that I don't necessarily text every day, but I can be like, hey, if we get together and we haven't seen each other for a year and a half, I know everything going on with your life.
So can I? Don't forget what you're going to say, if I may, for a second, just to poke at that. There were still risks, right? I mean, all those
Photoshop
really
existed.
intense.
Sure.
There's Photoshop, but also all those really intense documentaries about like child predators, and I found this family posted this picture of this kid, and now I have identified where they live, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You know, that those types of things were risks, but I think they felt removed for a lot of the time. They didn't feel like as close as maybe
more
they are now,
unlikely, like
right?
maybe less common.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, if literally everyone can use Grok now to do whatever they want, then it's like that puts power in more people's hands.
Yeah. It makes me want to reevaluate moving forward.
Yeah.
For sure. And I wonder if maybe my kids will reevaluate moving forward. You know what I mean?
What were you going to say?
I mean, my instinct was just to, I don't think you're wrong, Irene. I don't think you're alone and feeling that like sense of connection with other people. Like I felt that and I still feel that, you know, but I think even asking the question of like, should I why did I want that connection with people I kind of know on the tertiary of my life, you know, or whatever it is, you know? And like, I think maybe this is just me processing. So this is maybe different than the Grok conversation, but I think it is worth processing of like, where do I put my focus and my attention? And am I actually investing in the relationships I care about? Or am I just posting on social media because I want some validation from people in my life, you know? And like, because I think what we've learned from the social media experiment is that it makes us feel terrible. You know, like at some point, like obviously it's not working. Like that validation we're getting isn't working. And now we're seeing that it's being manipulated and used where you can take an image and turn it into something just because it's on someone's Facebook page or on their Instagram page or on their Visco account or whatever it is, you know, like you can take those things and manipulate them in horrifying ways. So at some point you have to ask the question, like, what am I gaining from this?
Yeah.
And I think your answer in 2012, it felt very different. And I think that's valuable, but maybe we should have been asking those questions in 2012.
100%. Yeah.
Of like, okay, how do I like invest in my embodied relationships that I care about deeply? How do I invite those people into my life more? And you know, like, how do I share what I'm doing with them? And I also think at some point, like, I think there's something great about not seeing someone for a year and having all these things to talk about because you actually didn't post it on social media, you know, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just maybe for parents inviting, you probably have thought about these things, but I think it's worth as a culture, us maybe thinking about these things in maybe ways where it's like, maybe the default isn't posting on social media. Maybe that is the exception. And how do we like be intentional with the ways that we share our lives? Because as these models get more and more powerful, Grok is like the beginning, not the conclusion of this conversation.
Could you have ever imagined something like Grok back in 2012. Like, is that something you could have ever conceptually
Well,
imagined?
I feel like you read enough sci-fi, yeah.
Yes,
Right?
I think maybe the thing to say is I imagined it immediately in 2020 when ChatGPT was getting popular, whatever it is, like
right.
I think it's also worth briefly noting how social media has changed because it has truly, in most of the major platforms, it has gone from a way to keep up with your friends to a stage on which you can perform for the world.
Yeah.
And that's just different from what like Facebook was back when it was invite only or whatever,
Yeah.
There are some new apps. There's one called Faves that I'm kind of intrigued about. There's no like explore tab. There's no, hey, everybody look at me. It's like just your friends in a chronological feed. So I think that there are elements of that are showing up as sort of maybe a return to the way things were. Not that social media in 2012 was all that glorious for our mental health either.
Right.
But there were certain issues that it didn't have. And in this conversation, maybe that's worth including.
Yeah.
It's such a heavy topic.
Right. It's confusing.
It's confusing. I'm not sure what else we can say about this right now, but if someone wanted to start a conversation about some of this, what's the right question, do you think?
I think, honestly, talking to your kids about if someone ever uses something like AI maliciously against you, like what would you do? What would be who would be the first person you tell? How would you handle something like that? And are you prepared to? If you're posting photos of yourself, are you prepared for this consequence? And can we talk about that ahead of time? And what would you do? I think that's a good place to start having all these micro conversations about it.
Hey, I'm Bree. At Access, we believe that good conversations are meant to be shared. If this podcast episode helped you in your parenting journey, we ask that you consider passing it along to another parent, mentor, or friend who's running this wild race of discipleship with endurance. You can find this episode as well as all of our available resources for free at axis.org. That's AXIS.org.
All right, final thing this week, a little bit of a lighter one to end with. We have entered late stage protein. What is late stage protein? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Just when...
Is it different than late stage capitalism?
It's more specific.
Okay. It's underneath the category.
It's a subcategory. Just when seemingly everything, even things like Pop-Tarts, were being made with protein, to maximize protein intake, fiber stepped into the spotlight.
Yes.
There's a new nutrient in town, and it's fiber.
Yeah.
Quick, protein-filled snacks, once consumed primarily by gym bros and people who forgot to eat breakfast, have exploded in popularity over the last few years. It got to the point where basically anything that was a packaged food, no matter how, frankly, unhealthy it may have been, if there was protein in it.
At least there's protein in it.
At least there's protein in it, and you're going to see that on the label. It's got protein. A lot of brands released protein versions of their normal products. One of the examples we were talking about internally is the protein latte at Dutch Bros. Either of you ever had one of those?
I have not.
Okay.
No, I get just the sugar latte at... How much protein is in that?
We
Evan,
got
for people who are
6
listening
grams
audio,
of protein in
Evan's
this
holding a
cold
canned-
brew La Colombe draft latte. 6 grams of protein.
Is that
So
why
that's
you?
weak.
Is that
That's
why you
weak,
drink
bro.
Is that why I drink it?
Yeah.
No, I just grabbed it.
I want you to finish
it?
your
You
intro
drink
to
like
this.
you drink like
Yeah. Let's.
milk products all the time. You've always got like your chocolate milkshake.
Wow. Evan's getting called out. Why are you drinking so much milk? That's for babies.
I mean, look. Every
Milk
time,
is a baby food.
Let's
No,
call it. Every time I see
I'm
you,
a part
you're
of the
drinking
protein.
a chocolate
I'm
milk
a part
or
of the
something.
protein mafia.
Evan, if you have a cookie, will you just get like a tall glass of milk?
Absolutely. I
Okay,
would
you're
do
like my
that.
father,
Which
which I think is crazy behavior.
it's delicious, but I find that a little bit of protein in whatever it is that I'm consuming helps me think more clearly and feel more full without the dragging effects in my whole soul that sometimes a larger meal can have.
I have one comment about late stage protein, and then we need to get to Fiber. So I was hanging out
Fiber.
You were there, Evan. We were hanging out. Actually,
Yeah, I heard Fiber.
Fiber. You were there, Evan. We were hanging out with a group of guys. I don't know if you're there for this conversation, but my friend pulled out a sparkling water.
Yes.
That had 30 grams of protein.
Yes.
And
Wild.
the 8 guys in the room or whatever were all like, how does that work?
Yeah.
And what does that taste like?
Right.
How did they put the protein in the water?
Because my first thought is like, there's got to be meat somewhere in there.
It's just red meat.
Sparkly red.
It's cow.
Gross.
Not good. Yes, I've sampled that at Costco.
So when we talk about fiber, guys, here's the reality. We have to talk about poop.
Fiber is poop is the
Fiber
primary
is
association I have with fiber.
Core to your your waste systems in your body.
Are
and
people
so
constipated? Is that why fiber is
So
getting popular?
Okay, get this.
Okay.
Get this.
fiber will make you constipated if you eat too much.
So, there's an article from the Associated Press that makes this point. Rising use of GLP-1 weight loss drugs could be one reason for the renewed focus on fiber, since GLP-1s naturally slow digestion and fiber can prevent constipation.
Oh. Okay.
So,
My
that's
understanding.
one theory.
I have seen consistent on the internet. I can't source this, so take this with 17 grains of salt or whatever.
And 6 grams of fiber.
My understanding is that one of the problems with millennials and Gen Z is that they have fiber deficient diets. And so I'm assuming that a lot of smart marketing people were like, guys, we got to start getting fiber into people. Like my understanding is that like colon cancer might be a real issue for people who are young right now as they get older because they're not consuming enough fiber and their
So why
colons are
not?
suffering.
What are they eating and what are they not eating?
Protein. They're just eating protein.
It's all protein. It's all protein.
Protein,
Like so fiber
water,
classically is in
protein,
like greens. So broccoli, salad, like those sorts of things. And as people move into more fiber deficient diets that are focused on protein. So I'm just eating rice and chicken and like these things. We're struggling with our fiber intake. And so it makes
fiber comes in carbs primarily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is maybe I'm not a dietitian.
Fact check.
My understanding is that there's fiber in plants. Like you get a lot of fiber from plants.
Okay.
So
I just started
Does-
figuring out protein. Okay, like I'm
You're
finally
too late.
like,
so that's the thing, right? Like as people, so I will say this is definitely related. The protein thing is definitely related to gym trends. So a lot of Gen Z men, they love going to the gym. A lot of Gen Z women really love going to the gym. And there's these like recommended protein intakes that it's like, hey, it's like an 8/10 of your body weight in protein every day. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of protein, right?
Yeah.
Like that you're being told this, and like honestly, bring it full circle. One of the easiest ways to get like recommendations about diet for working out is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very good at that. Of like, here's a workout routine you can try. Here's food that you can try. Like, and I think it was last year that they did like their year in review, and they were like, well, ChatGPT. One of the things that ChatGPT said specifically about their OpenAI said about their product was that this is one of the things that people consistently use it for is like workout routines and diet recommendations.
Okay.
And so when you're being told, hey, if you weigh 180 pounds, you have to eat 150 grams of protein a day, you're like, so am I just eating eggs for every meal? Like, how am I doing this?
Yeah.
And so when
protein,
you shift,
sparkling water.
when you shift your diet that way, something's going to be lost. And apparently I think it was fiber. And so
Interesting.
a lot of marketing people are like, well, let's get people onto the fiber train now.
So
get
now
back
is
to fiber.
everything
Yeah.
going to say 27 grams of protein and so of fiber? Is that going to be like?
Well, it'll be interesting to see maybe a full shift into the fiber territory.
so we're going to
Do you
forget
think
about
the
protein.
fiber cow will eat the protein cow like Joseph's dreams?
Yes.
Interpreting dreams. Like
Yes. It's,
we're going to have 7 years of protein cows and then fiber cows will rise up and eat
that's
them.
right. That's exactly
That's my
right.
connection to the Bible. Evan, don't ask me for one this week.
I just to tie the loose end on this. Most fiber in a typical diet does come from plant foods, especially whole grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Dietary fiber is a type of carbohydrate
There you go.
that the body cannot fully digest. And
so
it is
we
found
get rid of it.
only in plant
So we move
foods.
things along.
Not in
So
meat,
we
dairy,
so
or
we
eggs.
poop it out. That's
Get it?
why we got to talk about poop when we talk
No.
about fiber.
Yeah. You're
I'm
exactly
sure the
right.
6-year-olds who are listening to this podcast are loving this section.
They are
Yeah.
loving it. So
Listen, we all do it.
Let
We all got to talk about it more because it's really indicative of your health.
let me bring in some hardcore nutrition perspectives here.
Did you type this in the ChatGPT? Is that
No. No, this is my own manual research.
all right?
Hand selected from the internet. All right.
You saw the scrolls.
I saw the scrolls. There's a part in the article from the Associated Press that we'll link to in the show notes where they're interviewing Sander Kirsten. Sander is the director of the Division of Nutritional Sciences at Cornell University.
Good old Cornell.
Good old Cornell. Do you think of The Office and Andy? Kirsten basically points out the weirdness of this trend of focusing on one nutrient at a time.
Yes.
Whether it's protein or fiber or
You need
anything
all of
else.
these things. You still need protein.
Right. You know, he says, we don't eat nutrients, we eat foods. Ultimately, what you want to be striving for is a healthy diet, and you should choose foods that are considered to be an important part of a healthy diet. You know, it reminds me of that quote from the cultural critic H.L. Mencken, who was like,
Mencken.
for every complex problem, there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like we pendulum back and forth between one thing.
Yes.
Finish your quote. Unless
No, that's the end of the
I
quote.
was like, what do you guys think is the next one? How do we get ahead? What are we going to tell marketing guys right now? Hey, the next trend in diet, is it carbs? Are we
We're
back
gonna
to
go back.
carbs?
You know, this isn't an old thing.
be
Like
fats.
we remember all the milk ads with the mustaches.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was a thing for a while.
Milk.
So
that was
our
entirely like milk isn't that great of a source of calcium. Like there's better sources of calcium.
Yeah.
Just like oranges aren't the best source of vitamin C. Like it's just a way to sell products.
No idea what's going to be next.
Yeah, I mean, I've always heard just get a lot of bright colors on your plate.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So
probably
Skittles, baby.
Oh,
We're cooking. That's always my joke. I agree with that. There's like you should have a colorful plate.
Yeah.
And I joke whenever someone says that. It's like, so Skittles, we're crushing it.
Or M&Ms. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Can we speak to the trend of fiber maxing just for a second? Like, what is that? Just literally like get as much fiber as possible because I want to have a healthy
kind of
colon.
So I think with our current diet system, I think we are a little fiber deficient, and so it is not a bad thing to be like, okay, where am I getting fiber from today? Did I eat some greens? Did I eat some nuts? Like something like that. Like quite literally to think through those things. But if you fiber max, you will swing the pendulum so far to the other way
Yeah.
that you're just gonna like, if you're just eating fiber, that isn't a healthy diet either. And maybe that's the point that you guys were making, just put into a couple of sentences.
Fair enough.
if there's nutritionists out here that heard this conversation, we're sorry.
Yeah, I think perhaps we should exit here. But CJ, if someone wants to talk about this, and maybe about nutrition more broadly, maybe about health more broadly, just broaden it as far as you want.
Like your nutrients.
Like your nutrients. What's the right question to ask?
I think you could create a very funny conversation about trends in food. Like, do you think protein is really that important to buy a protein latte at Dutch Bros? Because I think for young people, they are thinking about what they're eating, and it might be tied to like success in the gym, you know? I think you could definitely start a conversation about
Poop?
Yeah, honestly. Yes.
I saw it in your
This
eyes.
is your chance.
Yes. That's
This
a
is
little
your
weird
chance.
that you said that, Irene. I saw in your eyes that you wanted to talk about poop.
Just little poop emojis just popped up.
The joke I
it
often
is.
make is that you're not real friends unless you've had the poop conversation, which is like
good.
You're like good poops, bad poops, like.
Yep.
But honestly, like that does matter. So it's like, hey, how's the bathroom been?
Yeah, that's the question. That's the conversation starter for you.
Because who knows, they might need more fiber in their diet. You know, I think having a conversation about some trends around food, I think, could be very funny. Maybe you won't go super deep. Maybe you won't talk about the things that are breaking and making your life. But I think that's a fun
Food's
conversation.
Important.
Food is important.
Yeah.
So.
We were made to run in a particular way, and we don't always go with the grain of that.
Yeah, so 250 grams of protein today. Evan, let's do it. I'm going to cook up 25 eggs for us to eat, just the two of us.
Perfect.
And what about me?
Sorry, Irene.
I'm locked in with Evan on this.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bye.
We only have 25. We both need 12 and a half.
I'll get a protein latte.
Well, hey, what's happening? What else is happening in culture this week, Evan?
I'm so glad you asked. There are 5 things that I'd like to briefly allude to as part of the cultural survey to send you out. Number 1, Harry Styles just dropped a mysterious website called WeBelongTogether.co filled with crowd footage and the words, "We belong together."
Crazy.
What does it mean? Fans are trying to figure it out.
That we belong together.
That's a good
And
guess.
there's art that's popping around the world, right? Taylor Swift did something similar.
Physical art. Can you believe it?
Whoa. We out here. Number 2, the year in anime is kicking off with a bang with new episodes of popular ongoing shows like Jujutsu Keisen, Freiren, Beyond Journey's End, Fire Force, and premieres of highly anticipated newcomers like Sentenced to be a Hero. Number 3, the Golden Globes Awards declared K-pop Demon Hunters 2025's Best Animated Film, and Gen Z favorite Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor for his turn in Marty Supreme. Number 4, survey data from Talker Research found that 63% of Gen Z now intentionally takes breaks from screen time, carving out windows in their days to step away, which is a higher percentage than every other generation.
Yeah. Shout out Gen Z.
That's fascinating to me. Number 5, popular comedian and influencer Drewski has been bouncing around the internet this week because of a skit poking fun at, or perhaps critiquing, the over-the-top production and performative nature of some megachurch pastors. We'll have links in the show notes if you want to explore any of these further. For now, goodbye from all of us. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much for watching. This podcast is made possible because of our generous donor community called The Table. To help us support more parents and other caring adults through culture translation, we'd love to invite you to check out The Table by clicking right here. Finally, if you've been impacted by what we do, would you consider letting us know with a like, comment, and/or subscription, as well as by sharing this episode with someone you think could benefit. And thanks for caring about helping to start intentional conversations with the next generation.